No, I already counted
4,
down.
3, 2.
I didn't hear
1.
you count down!
Yeah, you didn't say out loud.
He counted down in his head.
Oh my god.
You didn't tell him to count it out loud.
Did you start?
Yeah.
I hate you with such a passion.
Okay, it's a part of the bit. It's a part of the bit.
It's part of the bit. It's part of the bit. Alright! We're back! Oh, motherfucker.
Good morning.
It's not morning. Alright, anyways. Alright.
Happy birthday.
Happy Oktoberfest.
Easter?
Back on topic!
Yes, that.
What happened last session, guys? You're explaining it to Aelea, because Aelea wasn't here.
I can't participate in this description. This is on you guys. For anyone who knows what happened last session, you know why Chris can't explain this shit.
Levina has, like, all the different, like, little, like...
Oh.
I can imagine Levina's the best at drawing, so she did what she could to, like, map out the place and stuff, and she has it all sprawled out on, like, a table for Aelea. What were you saying, Rae?
I heard something. You opened something up in the background I didn't need to open.
Here, we'll say you guys are using this big-ass fucking table for all the drawings. Chris smokes in the background.
Your mic faded out.
I didn't move. I said you're here at this table. We're gonna use that while Chris smokes in the background. Continue. Go. Scene.
Alright. I just didn't want to interrupt, Rae. I thought you were going to say something. Did you want me to keep going then, Rae, or...?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. So, Levina has everything sprawled out on the table for Aelea, all these charts and notes and everything. So, there's been a lot that we've uncovered. We found several items of magical interest that have been passed around throughout everyone. Oh my god, wait, Aelea, you have the necklace.
What?
The necklace we found at the end of the dinosaur session. You found that necklace of the goddess.
Amulet. I didn't add it to my inventory. That's true.
I spontaneously remember that. You have that.
I'm glad you remembered, because I didn't.
That might be important.
Yeah.
Levina gestures to like some of the maps. So we did a lot of water navigation through this structure of some kind. A lot of it was submerged underwater. We're probably underneath the ocean by now. Was it salt water?
It was fresh water in here. Oh wait, no. Yeah, it was salt water.
Likely parts where the ocean had broken in and just the structure eroding over time. We found a series of logs that came from what looks to be just after, like, the Godly Wars, where it talks about airships being reformatted into regular sailing ships, and a project of some kind that they called... Rae, what was it called again?
The bitter end.
Yes,
The
that.
bitter end.
Some kind of elementally powered ship with weapons of mass destruction.
Which, if you turn
that.
behind you, we believe is that.
The specifics of which we don't have too many details on its construction, just a couple of logs that are like, oh yeah, we've been working on this, the power of it is completely absurd, and should this thing, make it out into the world, that it would win every war kind of thing. And then at some point, the project was like halted and everything, like all of it was halted, and the warden showed up here to be guarding something, and the people here didn't know why. Until it is that suddenly this place was attacked by weird monsters, probably dead skeletons we found out in the halls, and they kind of knew they were going to die. So this place was ultimately massacred into no population. There's also another thing, and Levina glances at Rae, then at Chris, then back at Aelea. That's probably a them thing to explain, though.
Oh?
Well, I don't think that Chris is going to, considering he's being a big baby over there. Anyways, before he comes over. So, long story short, I came to this island probably for a specific purpose that originally did not exactly include any one of you. I know who's being held on the island. Sorta, kinda, what the wardens were originally for was... It was to hold Null. The primordial of chaos. All that good stuff, and his antithesis. The antithesis is who I came here to talk to and see.
You knew Pardon me,
I-
hold on. The French, it's coming to me. Olaf, you know this, you've known this all this time, and you told no one.
Not all the time.
Chris is just gonna point at Aelea the second Aelea says it, like, yep, go off.
No.
You did not know what you were here for until we got here? When did this come to you?
I'd say it was probably a couple of years now that I'd been speaking with him. It was never really direct, and it used to be a lot more infrequent until I started to get closer to the island. It's specifically the antithesis, not Null himself, but he has been locked away for fucking centuries at this point. And, you know, when you're locked away in a room with no light, fucking nothing whatsoever, you kind of forget a couple of things, which he did. So, he is stuck somewhere on this island, probably closer to the middle, which is, I'm gonna be honest, why I was pushing to go in so much. He can see and hear through me. Not all the time, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know when he does it. I don't get a heads up on that. But...
Is it going to be a problem for us to...
No. It won't be a problem.
What is... So you are saying this being, this antithesis to a god of chaos, maybe on some plane of order or something? They are benevolent? Or just not a danger to us?
Not a danger to us. Specifically, he was, I guess, created, molded to... Was it to fight or was it to kill him?
You
I
are
don't know.
asking the wrong people.
I don't
He's
know. if
not
that was
asking
like
you.
Yeah, it was just...
I know, but it was
Yeah,
said in
no,
character,
no.
so...
I know, and that's what I said in character. It's just like she's not asking you.
So the answer to that question is yes.
Yes. Both, kind of. But you see, I don't want to say that he exactly failed, but he kind of did. I don't care if you get mad at me. Anyways, but he was put to sleep a very long time ago. Has been locked away for a very long time. And that was about the time in the logs where the warden started to go a little bit cuckoo. And you see, Null is... I don't know the exact specifics of it, but Null isn't exactly properly contained anymore. And...
That sounds bad for us, yes.
yeah, that part is bad. And so... I would like to preface, I would really love if my friends could come and help me with this, but at the same time, as soon as you feel that your life is in any danger whatsoever, I really would wish for all of you to leave, if you even decide to do this. This is a really bad way of explaining
Our
it.
lives...
This is just...
Right, our lives are in danger no matter what we do here? I do not think
they're in danger.
what we are doing.
So, the way that it was explained to me is that in order to free him, the first step is to take care of the warden. which is what this
You,
ship would be helpful
you-
with.
do you know the name of this being that you are looking for?
His name is Seki.
Is that and out of character? How do you spell that?
Seki.
Dungeon Master,
Yeah, hi. What's up?
history or
Your mic.
religion
Why?
for Seki?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Oh, so I'm just corrected. Yeah.
Yes,
Which
thank
do you think is more
No worries.
accurate for this role?
Are you a follower of Deus?
No.
History.
Adros.
Oh,
Would I be able to make a history check, sir?
22.
Yeah, sure. I mean, like, you absolutely can go for it.
your mic is so quiet.
I
What
can't
happened?
control it! It
dirty
was
20.
louder before!
I have no idea. I'll turn up your volume for now.
It was
I'm
louder!
sorry. I'm sorry, that was not a great explanation. Words don't come out when I think too much properly about them, and then they don't come out right, and they don't come out the way that I want them to. Where's my guns?
I need to just check something. Okay, so you got 22 and a 20.
Yes, indeedy.
Let me just check something. So, for Levina,
Hi.
that's a good question. Just if my shit would load. Keep talking. I'll get to you too.
That's about all I have for the recap on my side, unless there's something I'm forgetting.
No, I'd say that about covers it. Found the logs we explored.
There's also the added condition that they now want to drive this all the way to the base now.
I mean, the course that we would take would not be close enough to set off the warden. And plus, it would give a little bit of hope to the people back at base. That
The ship? You mean you
ship,
want to
yes.
bring the ship back to camp?
yes,
It is functioning?
As far as we're
I would
aware.
believe so. Looks to be in as good a condition as it can be for sitting here for fucking centuries. We stood on it, we jumped on it, bounced on it. All good. Nothing came through.
I do not know if that is enough to tell whether it will sink under us as soon as we go to leave.
Oh, well, I mean, if it starts to sink, at
You-
least we're in somewhat shallow water, and then we can just crawl back in there. But
Do any of you know how to sail a ship?
I do.
It's a reformatted
Ew.
airship, so I'm not too sure about the logistics of it.
If it, I mean, we'll have to see when we get properly in there, but if it is anything like any of the ships that we had, or Lucian at least, I know how to. The captain taught me.
So, Levina,
Hi.
for history, on a 22, as you sort of try to recollect on the name Seki and the whole history with Null, the primordial of chaos, and da-da-da-da-da, it's somewhere in the back of your mind. You can feel prods of memory and knowledge. But herein lies the problem with archaeology, is that you won't always get the full picture. You recognize that Seki is a frequent name tied in with the god of war and his lore, his religion, at least during the ancient years. It is now, during your modern era, less common to hear, unless they are a true devout of Deus. All you know is that it was perhaps a piece of his power or a familiar of his. It is familiar. As for Chris, you rolled religion, yes?
I rolled. Oh, I should have rolled religion. It's the same bonus.
Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah. You would remember 3 names that are almost intimately connected with Deus and his Nero, Deus's wings, Trill, Deus's eyes, and Seki, Deus's sword. The name of 3 white ravens that were seen as his beloved companions. While in most contemporary depictions of Deus, he is only depicted with Nero, those who are more dedicated followers of Deus and those who have kept the mythos around the god of war know more of these. Nero, the raven that gave its life to aid Deus in his escape from the Hells. Trill, who watches over his love, the moon. And Seki, who gave him strength in times of need.
Oh,
And here I will put these in. I'll put these in World War.
oh.
Is there any extra insight that Aelea would have as a follower of Nanera, who's kind of tied in with Deus's
Yeah, if you want, you can
past
give me
in
a
some
religion.
ways? Okay. I always forget, guys. I always forget. We do not have proficiency. Somebody didn't pay attention in cleric school, guys.
But what you do have is
You
guidance.
remember a
That's
fanfic
true.
written in the churches long ago.
Guys. The dice. The
It was a
dice.
steamy fanfic.
They've turned me a cold shoulder after my absence.
Man, I wonder if this is very fitting for your character or not. Side eyes at you.
No way, what?
Yeah, the name doesn't ring any sort of bell. Kinda sounds like sexy.
That could not be it. It would not.
But so that would be collectively what you gather. Seki is a prominent figure in the Church of Deus for those who are the most dedicated and devout.
Hmm.
So we
If
have
everyone- Go ahead.
that, and what sounds like you described primordial of chaos here.
No, yeah.
So
Yes.
we have problems.
Oh, just a little bit.
Yes.
And with all that. One second, let me read God's messages.
Did God send you a message?
Previous messages from
Oh, previous messages from God. Yeah, just like, hey, hold on, guys. I just need to check
have
my
to
phone.
have to
I
have to
need
scroll through
see-
the
I
scroll through
need
the
to see what
DMs.
God hit me up about.
Hang on, I need to check the pin chat with God.
Yeah, just hold on a second. I just my God sent me some stuff. I just need to look through and see what it is. I haven't been paying attention to my notifications.
So what I can recall is that Noel is already breaking free. We're in the process of it, and Seki is still trapped and is requiring out in a way that he also wishes to be free. And in so that is
Did
he
Did
doesn't
Chris-
want to. Sorry.
Did Chris share what he remembered with the party? Or is he keeping it to himself?
I don't. It's. Chris is not a religious person, but Deus is one he knows well. But also, if you were to walk in and kind of like explain it, it's a weird subject for him. So currently, he is not going to bring it up. Him and religion are weird right now.
I mean, if someone wants to like roll an insight to see if they notice anything from that.
I'll roll the
I can do
performance
that.
for you. I got an
It's a
11.
fucking beating Nox over the head for having his character mope during this juicy character section.
Try and hide from the 28 insight
You know
check.
what? You know what?
I physically can't get that high.
Aelea sees through Chris.
Those big old
That's into
peepers.
your soul, man.
The name.
And honest, okay. Also, some other things that you will get. Well, actually, you do your thing. I will explain the other things you get because the 28's pretty big.
I was just gonna say, it's like the name Seki comes up. Levina thinks about it. I think Levina shared a little bit, right?
She didn't really have much to share because there wasn't really anything she could add with. It was just kind of like, yeah, it's a thing.
You see kind of like a furrow on Levina as she's thinking, and like a shrug, and then you look over to Chris, and you see just he's trying to hide it, but you see that he knows. And now I will let Chris be very more specific.
So
Shut up, your car's not cool.
parts that weren't mentioned to you in the recap are shown clear as day on Chris's face. Like, Chris is not good at hiding emotion. You can see from his face as, like, Rae explained all of this, that there are points that aren't brought up. And also that he is all the way over here because he is still, like, emotionally compiling everything that was just said between the two of them. Like, he isn't looking at anybody else in this conversation. sense. You threw Chris's backstory at him.
I, me, a bastard.
And what is going on with you? You seem to know more than you are saying.
Okay. Well. I'm more wondering if Deus put his blade away for a reason.
That is...
There are three. There are three of familiars, I guess would be the word for it, for God of War, Deus, which is Nero, which is the wings, Tyro, which is the eyes, and Seki, which is the blade.
So... We have a familiar of Deus here on this island, locked up, well, previously locked up, with a chaos primordial, and they are watched over by Adros, and this has not caused any tension between Adros and Deus? Or is this something they agreed on?
Yeah, I have no idea. Unfortunately, Seki hasn't quite let us know that. Or sorry, let one person know that. Also claimed to be the absolute opposite of the primordial chaos, which...
Absolute.
The absolute opposite. And...
Maybe there is more to this figure than being opposed to this primordial. If they are a familiar of a god, there is clearly more to the story, yes.
Well, my one real question, there's a lot of things that Seki is telling Rae that don't make sense. They don't add up. We don't have a proper explanation. And according to him, which came from her, obviously, is that we have to kill the warden to get an idea, so that we can then free Seki, so then Seki can kill the primordial of chaos, which she didn't kill the first time.
New theory.
What?
So, hang on one second. Levina kind of like sprawls out. I imagine we took like copies of the logs at the very least, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Levina like sprawls out the logs on the table. A copy of them anyway. She would not draw on the real things. And she asks Aelea for like her pen, or whatever she uses to write.
Yes.
And Levina starts like circling some stuff and underlining other things. My theory is we're hearing in this log the warden starts acting crazy, We're hearing here about assaults on the structure by monsters. We're hearing from Rae that we're getting Null breaking free of their prison. Are we sure that this warden is in its original state still? The original assumption was that the warden wants to keep us here to presumably keep whatever is here. But could it be more that the warden's trying to keep Seki here and is now under the control of Null?
It could be that this is the reason that it started acting so strange to begin with.
I don't have a way of verifying this theory, but that would be my new one, is at some point Null started to get loose with Seki imprisoned, infected or created some kind of monsters to assault this place to prevent the warship from getting out, infected the warden to prevent people from getting to Seki to free it, and now Null is trying to use that opportunity to get itself free.
I mean, it would make sense considering the creatures that we've seen in there were nothing that we've ever seen before.
And we also explain its weird aggression. I mean, if the warden is here, or was originally here to keep Null here, and then was trying to keep us away, if it's aware that Null is trying to get free, I feel like it would want us here to help fix it.
Perhaps there is a reason that our boats were capsized, but not all of us killed?
Plus,
I mean, did the warden ever actually specifically attack people? Just the boats, right? Everybody
just
else,
the boats.
I believe everybody else had died from the water itself.
That's a perfect sign of divinity, killing half the crew to send a message of help.
See, that's my point. If it's not a message of help, then it'd make more sense.
And the warden is from divinity, but isn't exactly divinity itself. It's some sort of construct. Right?
I think it's more like a... kind of like what you explained with the familiars. I think it's kind of like that. I wonder if it's like they're kind of almost offspring of Adros.
Maybe.
I'm not sure what they are.
But we've got to handle... Let's not blow ourselves out of proportion here. Right now, we're looking way past what the large conversation is. For now, let's just let's figure out what our next step is.
Rae,
Yes.
you had not told anyone before us, yes? This is not something that Horatio or anyone else is aware of?
No, I will be telling Horatio as soon as we land back, given that things have not gone to shit.
So it
So you all-
is no big secret that you intend to keep.
Not any. I mean, I didn't tell anybody to begin with because would you all really want to put up with me if I said I heard funny voices in my head? Or specifically a funny voice? No, it'd be crazy. Be a fucking moon. So, no, I didn't tell anyone. Until now. I'm not sure if anybody's wondering, but yes, it is why sometimes I seem to flip on a dime, going back on what I say, and changing the course of already agreed upon actions,
I
such
just
as
kind of
leaving the
chalk
boat
that up
anyway.
to you being like you know?
But I mean, yeah, a little bit, but well, now you know the reasons for the madness. Flip-flopping mentally does appear to be something I do, whether I get guidance on it or not.
And your hope is that we would find the middle of the island eventually, but first we have to get rid of this warden.
Well, first I wanted to make sure that the camp was able to sustain itself for the most part, and that everybody was able to, who could be helped was helped, and everybody was safe. And then it was towards going deeper into the island. This ruin seems to be a pretty good one, and we found a pretty big-ass ship that can be run. But after the warden is dead, I think then it would be. I don't know exactly what would happen. I'm not sure if that in itself would be what would free Seki, or if we have to physically lift something.
And did Seki mention whether you are the only one that he has reached out to like this? Are we likely to find allies on this island?
Right. One second, God is typing. No. I'm the only one. What I remember, or from what he has said in the past, nobody has made it this far in general. And as well as, again, reaching out further he wasn't able to do it as much since the connection was weaker. So no, the answer is no. We're not going to find anybody else.
Has he reached out to anyone that has crashed on this island since we got here? Does he know of the other people on this island? Is that something he can sense?
One second.
All good. Rae just like eyes blur out as she's receiving divine messages.
No. So out of character. A lot of the times where I seem very spacey when it comes, like, to re-entering a conversation, it is because this motherfucker's messaging me and I can't hear. I'm reading.
Reading
No,
and
that's
hearing. Like,
Reading and hearing don't work.
It's all good.
A second.
We're chilling. I still hear Sparky typing.
Oh no, this is
You got other things.
no. Nobody else has been reached out to. They're... Yes. None with a connection strong enough. I mean, I still, to be quite honest, don't even know why I got chosen parent. I mean...
I do not suppose you come by a connection to Deus, theoretically?
No, I've stated it many times, I am not religious whatsoever. I guess paladins just have great potential. That's what it is. Sworn by oath. That sort of deal.
Is it... We had not talked much about religion. It is Deus
me.
that you follow? Who is it that you have sworn an oath to?
It's been a while, but it's just to protecting people in general. No
You have-
specific god.
No god upholds your oath.
I mean, why? From where I come from, it's not really. It's not that we don't respect the gods, it's just. They don't dictate our day-to-day life, sort of deal. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's basically like the correct interpretation. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just they don't dictate the day-to-day life, sort of deal. Like I do not doubt, obviously, that any gods exist, considering all the shit that happens in the world around us. It's just I'm not loyal to one specific god.
Have you gone on expeditions, quests like these for the gods before?
No. This is the first and probably only time, if I'm honest.
I suppose that depends on how this goes.
Depends on how it goes. I left Gyroon when I was pretty young. As soon as I exited Paladin training, and then just made my way across the continent after. No real aim until Seki popped up.
Do you know if Seki is acting separately from Deus?
He is. I mean, he says, at least, that he's been locked away for a very long time. And so I assume that if he can hardly communicate across long distances on our plane, then he probably can't really communicate extra-planial, I think. I don't know.
And what did he say he was locked away for? Was it just because he failed? Is that all?
Yes. No, it wasn't like locked away for imprisonment, like as punishment. It was.
So, just out of character, it was mentioned in the logs that effectively he was being sealed as like a break-in case of emergency type deal, where
Oh,
if
so it probably won't piss off the gods if we release this
no,
familiar of
it's-
Deus
it's
swag.
it is basically insinuated, if not mentioned, that like, oh, this shit's unfortunate that we gotta do it, but we don't really have much of a choice. It's like alright, we
An
have a bad
emergency
thing
measure.
here. Yes, exactly. It's effectively that.
Okay, so now is the emergency, so we have to go. We have to go deal with this.
The gods pan over to us. What do you got there? Smoothie. It's just like the familiar of Deus behind us.
This movie. But yeah, so he was, and I can very much attest he is not happy about the arrangement that was made.
You stay?
He was sealed away in case of emergencies, pretty much. And he has no access to fresh air, no access to can't touch grass. Can't even see the sea that surrounds this fucking island. He wants out. And I want to help him. That is why.
Chris.
Mm-hmm.
So you were raised on much of the teachings of Deus, and even if it wasn't exactly how Deus would like it to be taught, but you at least know enough about Deus to know that his primary title is Deus, God of War and Justice, but his subtitle is Lord of Freedom. So, hearing that the familiar of Deus, a god who represents freedom and justice and all that sort of thing, it kind of adds up.
Yeah. There's an understanding that Chris is having. It's like, oh, I'm thinking, I'm sorry. My brain takes time to process things.
Yeah? Process these nuts!
Why are they so small?
Because I'm small.
Fair. On like what is being discussed, you can see Chris kind of just like, okay, well, you can see that like there's a click in his head where he kind of has an idea, and then he immediately swallows that down into the pit of his stomach, and then just walks over and just goes, okay. So before we, go into this very long dissection, which I do want to have, we do need to make a decision on what we're doing with the ship.
Why would we not take it?
That was, actually, I believe that was part of the conversation we had before you got here that didn't exactly get explained. Chris, go ahead and please speak your reason. Why you don't want to take it.
Well, as someone who was raised to understand war and combat and logistical resources and building bases to withstand assault and so on and so forth, there's the current stress that this ship existing just holds. There are very few. When we handle say we go and we kill the warden, there isn't really a place in the world that we could dock this ship where we wouldn't threaten somebody. And we can either be a nuclear deterrent to stop conflict, in which case...
nuclear?
We can either be a deterrent or do with that being a constant cost on our physical and mental resources. Or someone will get threatened enough that they'll want this, or they'll examine it and make it for themselves. Something this technologically advanced invites challenge. Nobody, wherever we land, is going to realize that there's someone with a bigger hammer.
What I wonder is why we would not take it to use while we are here on the island, at least. Whether we take it elsewhere or not, we could leave it up to... if... I do not know, perhaps there are higher ranking officers out on the island somewhere, and Once we get rid of the wardens, then we can gather at the beach with whoever we can find and leave the decision to someone who would know how to handle something like this.
Yeah, we're gonna have to chat with
We will.
Horatio, Sylvia. I mean,
Also, I do not think that this is a large ship, but it will not hold 3 fleets of people, will it? We will have to build other boats to leave. We could just send them ahead and warn people of what is coming, and that
this
we all
boat,
take what?
this boat has a maximum crew of over 50. This can handle everyone that we currently have.
But what of the other crews? Whoever else is living on this island now, who is not with us. We know there are
haven't-
people from the Rosario that lived, yes?
We haven't found any concrete proof of that yet.
I think
We saw
there's
tracks leading away. We do not know if they are still alive, but there are many formidable people. I do not think that we are the only ones. If nothing else, all other survivors aside, whether they are here or not, we do not have to take this ship with us after we have gotten rid of the warden. If that is what we are doing, it is our only chance at getting rid of the warden. We could take it back to the camp and then leave it here on the island. We could tell no one that
Well-
it was.
Me and Levina discussed the idea of that. The ships we came here on were specially modified to get here as quickly as possible. That took 3 months. For most other ships, especially if it's something like our situation, where it's made with what we have rather than professionally, the trip would be much longer.
Yes.
We wouldn't have the storage to handle the food to be able to have that many people. And also, this ship would take us all the way home in less than a month. Which is the quandary we found ourselves in.
This is all assuming, of course, that it still moves.
Yes.
Last I heard, maybe I'm wrong about it, but didn't one of the logs mention the power sources have been lost, like the elemental power?
So that was a very specific source of power. That was what was called the radiant source, which has enough potential that it could have actually allowed this to still be a sky ship.
Right.
What it currently uses are
Coal.
elemental fire crystals, or can be converted to use coal, which both are readily available. In fact, as you were exploring the ship and getting a lay of it, you did see a few crates that still had active fire crystals.
We may be able to power it, but we may not. Maybe it doesn't move. Maybe there's something wrong with it. Maybe some things are disconnected. We'd have to do like a full overview of a ship we know nothing about to see if it is operational.
Why not do it now? We can get philosophical on the way back to base camp. Plus, I think all the spores are starting to make me a little stuffy. Right, does somebody want to go check the levers on the pathway to the left, or to our right, and then, well, let's go check out if ships.
I'm pretty certain it was either Jauger or Levina that found out what these switches do.
It was Jauger, I think.
I don't remember which one.
Because I know Levina was zipping all over the room looking at stuff, but I think Jauger was the one who was like, hey, what's this do?
Oh, hey, didn't one of the logs say that one of the guys locked themselves in here? Does anybody want to check that vault, see if there's a skeleton in it, or are we gonna find it on here?
You know?
I don't, because I'm gonna be honest, I really don't want his spirit and soul being stuck on a warship, and well, I'm sure that's what he'd love.
That's a fair point.
Right, so I guess everyone is going around searching and studying.
Partially looking for this guy's skeleton.
Yeah, so I guess everyone just roll me investigation and then just tell me where you're looking, what specifically you're looking for or looking at, and we'll go from there.
16.
13. I'm looking at the steering area, the cockpit.
Okay, so
Chris is looking for damages.
Jauger is looking at the levers. Honestly, because I believe you already studied those, right?
Yeah.
Honestly, I go ahead, roll that again. I'm gonna let you do that with advantage because you did already kind of like successfully thing. It's just extra stuff, right?
I'll take that 18 over the fucking 5.
All right. Aelea. All right. Everyone, what are your rolls?
13.
18.
Aelea rolled a 12.
16.
Okay. All right. So we are going to start top down. Chris, as you are surveying this ship, it is almost shocking how immaculate it almost is. This is a steel-hulled ship. You would expect like maybe some sort of rust or deterioration, oxidation, anything. You know, I'm trying to remember the exact wording for it, but like the specific deterioration from salt water.
Corrosion.
Corrosion, thank you. That's the word I was thinking of. Corrosion. It's almost like it's brand new. Like it got one final fix up before going back into dry dock, and then just the conditions somehow worked out that it's still, at least appears, perfectly serviceable. There are no breaks, no breaches, no gaps, no dings, nothing that would give cause for concern. The wood beneath your feet is old, but it's not soft, it's not rotten, it's not bending or flexing beneath your feet. It honestly is probably on par with the ships you sailed in on. Jauger, as you sweep over the controls once more, you once again get a gauge of kind of like, oh yes, this lever, is for beep boop beep beep beep. Sorry, I was shifting. You get a gauge of this lever is likely to launch the ship. This lever is to open the gate. This lever is to close the gate. This lever is for this. That button's for that. You have a general idea of the control scheme. And
Am I tall enough to reach it, though?
that's slightly a problem. However, because you're not tall enough to reach that, you're short enough to notice something else. As you see a compartment at the side, sort of like a little metal file cabinet sort of thing, with these... they look like parchments, except they're sealed in a translucent, solid material that almost not even just almost, it just completely form fits to the page and appears to have kept it perfectly intact and safe from the elements.
Guys, I don't know what year we're in, but they figured out lamination.
This is Golden Age tech, brother.
Golden Age tech.
And
Howard
Golden Age
Silicon
means lamination,
laminated
baby!
It's just Golden Age tech. We got laminated paper and howitzers.
Yeah!
Doesn't get better than this, baby!
Exactly!
And you know
We're
what?
going to be fighting the dinosaurs with lamination and howitzer cannons.
You know what that means? Microplastics, baby. Let's go.
Yeah, boy!
God.
Okay.
But as you pull it out, thank all the gods above, but it's actually in common. And it's a routine checklist for setting up the ship for a launch. And on the flip side is setting it up for retrieval and maintenance.
I will immediately run that over to the book people,
Sorry.
wherever they are, because I can't find them.
The book people will be Aelea
Oh.
and Levina, Sunny. Alright, going down. Levina. So you're just looking at the ship? Yeah, so you're just looking at the ship, yes?
Sorry, I hit the pause button on my mic and I couldn't unpause it for a second.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, she's like I would say she's kind of like half investigating the ship, but she's more like drinking in what it is. You know, like this is what it is. She's like absorbing it all.
It is the culmination of centuries of shipbuilding techniques from the height of your society before its inevitable fall. You can picture what the world must have been like during the time before yours. You can picture what your time could have possibly been like if this had set sail. Some thoughts come to you good, some thoughts come to you bad. And it fills you with a sense of awe and uncertainty. Like mentioned with Chris, the ship is pristine. All things considered. You see no obvious signs of deterioration or damage, and from where you're looking at, it even looks like the mechanisms to launch the ship, as well as the propellers, are all perfectly fine. From an exterior inspection and point of view, the ship looks more than seaworthy. Going down once more, Rae, you search the bridge, and just move you over to a map that allows it a little bit better. Once it loads, there we go. Let's move
Hey.
these guys. So this is the layout of the bridge that you find. There are old documents and logs and maps that are still in the room. And it all seems workable.
What?
It seems a bit more complicated than the sail ship, but not overwhelmingly so.
Familiar enough to work it, but probably work it well enough to probably get back to base camp.
Yeah.
Just and learn the rest along the way. And you said there was maps. Are those maps intact?
Yes.
Are they
you
maps of
see-
the island, or is there any maps of the island?
Do you see the map? Yeah.
Here?
Okay. Yeah. If you just move yourself around, you can get a gauge. Yeah, it looks like there are some older maps of the island when it likely was a bit more intact. Notably, you do find some depth charts of the outlying waters with different markings of, oh, this is safe, oh, this is safe, oh, this is a little too shallow. Oh, this is where we sank that motherfucker. Calling back to the test fires that the cannons had.
Yeah.
So there generally seems to be a well-defined, like, oh, this is a good route, we can get here, and it'll be fine.
Mhm.
But for a 13, that is about all you find right now.
Good enough for me.
Going back to Aelea. Aelea, you're just meandering through, right? You know, looking, not
Yeah.
really. Well, first and foremost, thankfully, you don't find any skeletons.
Yay!
But you do see alternate armaments that, if given the chance, you could probably replace certain weaponry with these weapons, or these are like spares for ships that were under construction at the time. They, like the ship itself, seem in serviceable condition. Nothing overtly that gives you pause or cause for concern. But just as well, it doesn't exactly seem like there's anything that jumps out either.
What's up with all the little boats around the room? Are
Those
these like
are longboats?
rescue boats?
Yeah, those are just longboats.
Do they seem like they're in good condition?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, cool. Just doing a lot of looking around. Staring down at this anchor, wondering how big it is. Getting generally distracted by the amount of stuff there is to look at in this room.
Right. But that is about the overview for everyone's roles. I don't know if you guys want to keep searching, but that is what you find on the cursory look. And as we finish up that, Levina, you're staring at the ship, and Jauger comes running, holding something incredible.
Hey, I found something.
Oh, okay. What do you got here?
I'm just gonna hold up the laminated piece of microplastic-ridden paper. So what it's
Did I
looking
make
like?
the right choice making plastics canon to this world?
Yes,
Maybe I
100%.
No, that's how
Anyway.
that's how we're gonna kill Noel.
We're gonna kill him with microplastics.
I shouldn't have done this. I should have made it like, oh, it's
Too late,
wax
it's
or
canon.
something.
It's canon. But anyway,
It's my world. I can make anything canon or uncanon. You can't control me.
no retconning this.
The
Sorry.
lamination melts off.
Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
This paper was laminated.
Crumbled to dust.
I
in your
don't know what
hand.
lamination is.
Anyway, okay, so I found these documents here, and it looks like it's ways to start the boat, make sure that the boat's good to go. You're the smart one, so here you go.
Levina takes the documents, and her first comment is, "Wow, these are weirdly smooth." Huh. Well, I mean, yeah, no, that's convenient. Huh. All right, we're great. That works. Thank you. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Where were
Works for me.
these?
I just, I'll take them over and show them where I found them. So way over here. And I'll just
Oh.
point at the little cubby that I found.
Huh. Are
Then
there
I'll
any
also
more little
explain- okay.
compartments?
Let me check.
You're specifically looking for.
More compartments. Yeah, I don't see none.
I mean, you don't have to roll for it. You already discovered it. You would know what to look for. It does appear that there are a couple more compartments that are just shut.
Alright, I'm just gonna start opening all the compartments then.
You open the first one, and it is a maintenance manual for the ship, the door, as well as the console you are currently looking at.
Alright, so this one has book.
Levina just kind of adds it to the pile that's accruing in her arms.
Yep, that's literally what's happening, is I'm taking everything out of them and just piling them on.
That
And
Rae, Chris, Aelea, like Levina shouts as like more stuff gets piled on.
What?
And here's this rock that I found.
No, that's not necessary. Okay.
And then there was this hammer over here.
No, that's really not necessary. Okay, yep, right on top. Yep, sure.
And here's my left sock.
No, oh, thank you. Right in the books.
As for the last drawer, it doesn't seem that there is anything of import in there.
And then here's this drawer that's empty.
How'd you get it out?
I am unusually strong for my size. Anyway. So anyways, this lever does this one does this, and this one does this. So we can at least get the boat out of here. But I'm not smart enough to make sure that everything... Wait, where's silver? We need silver! Alright, so I'm not strong enough to make sure that... Stay. I'm not smart enough to make sure everything on the boat is working fine, nor am I tall enough to really reach these levers. So I can tell you what they do, and then somebody else can pull them, but, you know, you all can use book smarts here to do everything else.
Everyone say thank you, Jauger.
Thank you.
Alright, I'm gonna go die in a hole now.
Oh, in the fucking cockpit area, why is he swimming? Oh, okay, he can do that. Anyways, I found maps of, I believe, the island itself, and also which routes are good enough to take that are not too shallow and not too far out. It is a little more complicated than the sailing ships, but familiar enough that should be able to get us back to home base in one piece, and then figure out the rest while we are there.
Well, that'll definitely come in more handy than making sure the ship actually sails.
But we can figure out if it's going to sail, and then we can worry about it more, I guess. Also, if any of the tools lying around you might want to bring back to base, just because I know they're kind of scraping by.
Yeah, I already grabbed a couple myself. Like, I picked up this, and I'll reach in the bag of holding and pull out the two-person saw.
But how did you get that in there?
Like this, and I'll just slowly push it back in.
Fair enough, I don't know really what I expected.
Well, what else do you think we should grab?
Mm.
I saw a couple hammers, some other stuff that we could use for forging. Maybe we can grab that anchor over there.
Not grab the anchor.
I don't think we need an anchor.
You know what? No, Jauger, if you can carry it without breaking your back.
You know what? I'm gonna try.
No.
Like, yo,
That was
that's
me being
something that
sarcastic.
will happen.
I was trying to be sarcastic. No,
And I try and put the anchor in the bag.
Jauger, what's
You not strain yourself.
Can I just try and, shimmy the bag over the anchor?
No,
Oh.
that's not how the bag of holding works. It is too big.
So am I literally just putting one end of the anchor in the bag, like, come on, get the fuck in.
Like, part of the anchor goes in, and it's like, whoop, but then you're just like, and then it's just too big for the rest of it to fit.
Honestly, that's kind of funny. Leave that in, that's canon now.
I mean,
I would imagine.
yeah,
We weren't gonna take it out.
Oh,
Hey, he's
my God.
taken out a lot of funny stuff.
No, I haven't.
Oh?
You have. There is one particular thing I am talking about, and you know what I'm talking
Blame
about.
Matt.
What did I do?
I have no
Hold
idea.
on.
I don't watch the VODs. I don't watch them. I don't watch the recordings.
We move on now.
So yeah, I'm trying to fit the anchor in the bag of holding.
While he fails at that, I was gonna go back over to you. So you started. Shall you continue?
So team, out of character, are we piloting this ship or what?
Yeah.
I say
Chris's
yes.
thoughts on it aside.
Oh,
Chris is the minority in this conversation.
Yeah. Let's bring it back.
Ship. Big.
Aelea's sitting here biting her tongue on a comment about what a good stroke of luck it is that they found this perfectly pristine ship that will do exactly what they need it to do with all of the manuals that we need to operate it. And man, that luck god, huh?
We opened the door and the
shit.
warden is just sitting there.
Damn, that luck potion from
Wow, we
earlier
don't
is
even
still
have
going
time.
strong.
Man, it's almost like we all died a couple of times already, and this is just him trying to, the gods above trying to, make sure that we're appeased, but we're all still actually dead.
Dido's just
No,
winks at
see.
you, Aelea.
God.
It's like,
Listen,
hey,
listen.
pick me. Pick me. I'm the god you should follow.
Listen. If we're gonna have a stroke of luck this big, probably all the bad luck up to now was making up for it, because you gotta have balance. Eh?
And there was quite a lot of bad luck. Let's be real.
There was quite a
And-
lot of bad luck.
And you see, now that we have this massive stroke of good luck with the ship, we're gonna get TPK'd when we go to fight the warden. Let's go, baby!
Yeah, TPK.
Also, I couldn't fit the anchor in the bag.
Yeah, no, we watched Jauger. We saw. Don't worry, we witnessed.
It's a little
So anyways, let's go look at those maps. They're pretty cool.
The
So,
ship doesn't
something
seem to
of-
have-
Note that you notice when observing the entire process of launching this ship and at the console. Once the ship is launched, whoever's at the console is at the console.
Oh, it's okay. We have somebody that flies.
Sounds that. Oh. It's
All
true.
right, we won't drive it out too far, and we'll agree to get on the ship before we actually take off.
I'll tie a rope to myself, and then we'll just hook me onto the ship, and then I'll just fly behind
Jet
the.
ski?
Yank!
Yes.
Jet ski, but there is no jet ski. It's just you, and
We're
you're
about
on
to
a
keel
rope. and
haul
you're behind the
Jauger.
ship.
Anyways, Chris, you were gonna say stuff.
Chris is going to bring up the fact that it doesn't seem to have any actual dings at all.
Well, again, seems we are finally lucky with something.
That is good words. Make sure to knock on it.
I'm not going to knock on anything in case the bad luck suddenly comes back and we break the entire ship in one knock. Anyways, whoever wants to come
Big
take a peek at
shrug.
these maps. Whoever wants to take a peek at these maps, they're in the... here.
I'm gonna try and go below deck.
Absolutely. You see there are these big, heavy metal hatches that you just take, wheel, turn, spin, pull it, and you're able to get inside. It's a bit dusty, but
Oh. Guys, we may need to clean this out first. It's a bit dusty in here.
I mean, you got that thing of water, right?
Not true. Yeah. I'll start cleaning.
but the internals, much like the outside, is a mix of metal and wood, with the stairs being metal and much of the decking being wood. The walls equally are metal, same with every door that you come across. And you notice that many of the areas are sectioned off by these big bulkheads that you just can tell at a glance are certainly watertight. Just as well, in common along the walls are signs just pointing this way to gun deck A, this way to upper deck, this way to lower deck, engineering, storage, mess hall, bunks, etc., etc., etc.
Well, I guess I'm gonna go check out the bunks and lay claim to the first one.
It's, not too much of a shock that a military vessel makes it easier to get to point A to point B in a very rapid and clear-cut fashion.
And this is my bunk here.
The bedding is a bit stiff, but it's better than what you've had. But not by much, honestly, not by much.
Oh, time to actually sleep. But maybe
Goes
later.
below deck, disappears, doesn't say
Yeah.
anything to anyone.
Just passes the ever-living fuck out.
Silver sits with you for a little bit, but then just kind of wanders off. So, at the very least, the Silver's still wandering around. There's no freaking out.
No, I was still gonna wander around also and explore more. I just wanted to lay claim to the first bunk.
Yeah, no, of course. Alright.
I forget, we did grab the egg, right?
Yes, Silver
Okay.
does still have the
Silver's little football, got it.
Yeah, Silver still.
Silver's nuclear football.
Right. Now moving off of Jauger, we move back to everyone else. What is everyone else doing?
Did you ask what everyone's doing?
Yes, I asked what everyone is doing.
Levina is gonna start looking at whatever documents we've recovered and start looking at the ship's power source to see if, from what she can tell, despite not knowing anything about this kind of stuff, would it still work?
So thankfully, Jauger did find a maintenance manual, which does not only include the guns, the hull, the deck, etc., 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 but also the engine, and specifically the furnace. In its current configuration, it is running off of fire crystals. So that's really the page that matters the most to you. You head
Running
down
off of
deck.
fire what?
Fire
Sorry.
crystals. The
Crystals.
Yeah, crystals. You head down. You spot Jauger heading into the bunk room, and hear a bit of snoring afterwards. And you continue down, following the signs, and come to the engine, or the whatever the engine. Yes, engine. I'm smart. I know terms. I know terminology. I swear. And it is shockingly impressive. You've seen some mechanisms that have been crafted and created, especially in Concordia. Things that run off of Magitech or Steam. Nothing super extravagant, but enough for like functional proof of concept things, like a college project, basically.
Right.
This is like that tuned up to 100. You follow the manual and you get your bearings around. This lever is for this. This lever is for this, and you can see that it can be run by a single person. It won't be efficient, but it can be done. You can see that much of it, as mentioned with Jauger, there's a lot of contingencies and redundancies that have been planned for in case the engineering deck gets fucking annihilated and only one or two guys are still alive.
Noted.
You see that where, if this was in the coal configuration, a coal-powered furnace, set of furnaces would be, is just a single Magitech bit of machinery where a glowing orange-red crystal polished is fitted perfectly in and still emanating a more than sufficient amount of heat. If you want, you can give me like an Arcana.
Arcana, you said?
Yeah.
$15.
Yeah. So as you explore this area and match things up to the manual, firstly, some of the stuff is a bit stiff, and others, again, a bit dusty. But overall, in working order. And then moving over to the fire crystal, yeah, it has more than enough magic power to give this ship a kick of oomph that will get it up and going. You, with all of your knowledge and studies, especially archaeological, know that fire crystals are not the longest lasting of the elemental crystals, with thunder crystals holding their charge far longer. But they're still able to have quite a bit of longevity. Much more so than crystals that emanate poisonous magic or necrotic magic, radiant magic.
So, thunder crystals are like the more potent ones? They're better?
Thunder crystals are more long-lived. Fire crystals are like right above, where they're not as long-lived, but they can, like, they hold their charge, they hold their energy far longer than most other variations. So you would know that this is more than serviceable. Could probably last you for, if used correctly, maybe just about a week before having to replace the crystal.
Levina
And
wonders
obviously-
for a moment.
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, you would also know that there are different storage compartments that have spare, fully charged crystals ready and waiting in case of refuel.
Is there a depleted crystal anywhere?
Yes, there is. You see a couple that are just lying in it, not work tables, but it looks like a specific areas to kind of like break down the materials for recycling or reuse in other aspects. On the surface, they just look like books.
Levina wants to take one of the depleted crystals. 1 second.
So, of note, when I mention these crystals, I want you to think of something quite large.
Oh, sorry. No, my mom walked in. That was all.
Okay, but yeah, so I would say the full-size crystals that are used for the fuel are 1.5 meters long and 2 feet wide. It's cylindrical with pointed tips.
Levina, holding this crystal, this depleted crystal, she wants to try something. Although it's a
Okay.
fire crystal, she wants to, like, press her hands firmly against it and see
Okay.
if she can use her mysterious lightning powers to charge it.
Huh. Okay. Give me an Arcana.
Which is also why she picked a depleted one, because it was a fire one. She was worried it was going to explode.
Yeah.
That is a 7.
Whoa.
As you try to focus this energy, you feel it course through your fingertips and press into the crystal itself. And for a moment, there's a dull glow. But then you are not certain where the point of failure is from. Mayhaps you put a bit too much of a charge too quickly. Maybe you just lost your grip. Maybe the crystal itself was flawed from the breakdown process or age. But there's a crack, snap, and a flash of electric light as the crystal snaps in half, and you can feel smaller shards break off at the point of failure. The crystal holds a dull glow for a moment, but separated from itself, it seems to fizzle.
She kind of frowns and then just puts it down.
It's not that your experiment had an incorrect hypothesis. It just feels like you either don't know enough or went about it the wrong way.
Right.
But with that, through research, you would know you could very well go all systems go here now if you wanted to.
I can go what now?
All systems go.
Oh.
The engine room and all of its mechanisms are functional.
She's not going to do that just yet. She feels like that would probably scare the crap out of everyone on the ship, so she's going to leave it all in, and she's going to go look for people.
Of course. You probably still hear Jauger snoozing as you pass by the bunks. And, Chris and Rae. What are you two doing?
Ooh.
Rae is still in the cockpit area going over maps, just trying to make sure that she is paying attention to the exact route that should be taken back to where camp is. Just so that she does not have to take her eyes off of the water which way I'm steering. Because while it is not, because well, for ships, I guess if you were heading in the same direction for for a decent while, you don't exactly need to be at the wheel at all times. You can just be in the same vicinity of the wheel. She would much rather just
I believe,
stay at the wheel.
don't you have proficiency in naval vehicles thanks to the captain?
The captain, yes. But it's also just an anxiety thing, because you know what? I don't think the captain, as much as he would have taught Rae enough to get the proficiency, I don't think he would have let her steer the ship. Exactly. On more than one occasion.
To get proficiency with it, you would be allowed to. They would have let you, while supervised, steer the ship.
I'm gonna do fucking donuts. Not really. Last time Rae was allowed to drive the ship did donuts. Ray's no longer allowed to drive the ship, especially because it's at the bottom of the ocean.
So
For legal
you're basically
reasons, that is a joke.
You're basically just chilling in the bridge right now. That's it.
Chilling in the bridge, but going over maps to a specific route.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you want, just give me. You're smart enough. I'd say you.
Hello.
Yeah, we'll just this will be the process of time while everything's going on. This is how you're drinking the knowledge. And what about you, Chris?
Chris is kinda. He looks like he does not want to be on this ship. He knows that this is the option the group has made. And he is getting very close. You can see that he is deliberating on making a decision that doesn't seem to be related to this. And he's kind of pacing up and down the front of the ship. Kind of just leaning over it, looking down at the water. His brain is braining, but it's hard to pinpoint where he's at currently.
All right. But I think on that note, my question for you all is: are you gonna spend a little bit more time looking around, or do you think you're gonna throw the switch?
Levina would want to reconvene with the group before she flips any switches.
Aelea is just doing her job. She's chronicling until told otherwise. There's plenty for her to keep up on. She's just waiting on everybody else.
I just realized something. Rae's not as nice as a person as Levina. Where's the horn?
It would. So, let me move back. A map.
Where's the horn?
You see that little pulley thing next to the wheel?
This thingy?
Hold on a second. It's still.
I was about to say, is it like
yes.
a truck horn?
Yeah,
This
that
thingy?
thingy. That thingy. Yeah. Now, you are inside a cave. An echoey cave. Are you sure?
I won't pull the horn yet, but I will be eyeing it the entire time we're in here.
Okay.
Do
Okay.
Do it.
Everyone
Do it.
has the
No,
fucking deafened
the whole
condition.
thing will cave in.
Thunderspell, thunderclap, let's go.
I was more insinuating that everyone would go deaf for like the next 2
That too.
hours.
No, I know, that's why I said thunderclap, let's go.
Alright,
Or thunder is
let's
fine.
just move towards everyone reconvening. We can get this out of the way, seeing as it doesn't seem as though anyone wants to do anything else. Jauger, you did get a good bearing of the ship. Move, and then move.
Alright, guys. So, I already claimed my bunk. I know where pretty much everything is that is important. The mess hall, the bunk area. So we're all good there.
Find the horn.
How long?
Well, you found a
Hello.
horn.
No, I did not find the horn.
Leia gives a skeptical look. How long is the trip back to the camp? Do we know this?
Let's get back to it's gonna probably not even a day.
I mean, less than a day, probably. We're traveling decently close to the beach front. Shouldn't take too long.
Mm-hmm.
I still claim my bunk. So, anybody else do anything else on the ship?
I looked into the engine room. Ship seems to be ready to go.
Well,
What are we waiting for?
I guess the question is, how do we want to divvy up the roles here?
I'll take care of all the small stuff. Like, the real hype small stuff.
I can take engine room.
I suppose I would be best on the upper deck, yes, to be able to scout ahead and see what is ahead.
Sounds like a good idea. I'll stay navigation and steering.
Man, this is making me miss Pulsar.
I know, right?
We should play again.
I love Pulsar so much.
It's such a good game.
It's been so long. It's been so long.
Who said they were gonna be navigation?
Rae said she'd do navigation and steering. Unless it's a two-man job.
It is, I mean, you could do it as a one-man job, but it would be better as a two.
Okay. Well, I can handle the steering if somebody wants to be my navigator.
Levina gestures to Chris.
I'll do, yeah.
Sounds like a plan. So, are we ready for takeoff?
As I'll ever be.
Right, Levina, get those engines fired up. Aelea, get on the switches. Once she roars, let's say we're good to go.
Levina's gonna go on down to the engine room.
All right.
Oh,
Um.
are we going to leave this gate open behind us?
I mean, the alternative would be someone stays behind to open the door, then shut it after we leave, and then goes back around to the outside of the cave to the shoreline and waits for us.
I'd say let's not chance our luck of how much we've gotten so far, and let's just leave it open. Because, I mean, the door that we came through should be closed and sealed up tight behind us, right? That way the rest of the stuff in there is not getting any worse for wear.
What is here? Is the weapons? Anything else? It could be damaged if we leave the door open.
Oh.
But I do not know if we have any other choice.
I don't
I suppose
think we do.
we could bring people back to maintain everything. We have a checklist on how to maintain things. I just thought it would be worth making sure that I was not expected to close it and race against the gate to get to all of you.
It could. It'd be exciting.
Add some mortal terror to my life, like I don't have enough right now anyway.
I mean,
I
we
already
could
have
see-
divine terror going for me. Come on, man.
We could see how fast it opens and then decide on that part.
I just don't want to risk anyone getting cut in half.
That too. I guess that kind of sucked.
Kind of. It would be me, not you, with some else consequence.
Oh yeah,
Let
that
us
would
not
really suck.
gamble.
That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, Rae says.
Alright. So. Jauger. You head off to start doing stuff that you can manage with your height. Probably would get the most use helping out Levina down in the engine room. So both of you head down below deck. Chris takes a seat in the navigator's seat, while Rae takes a seat stands before the helm. Aelea, you await the moment the ship comes to life with your hands on the switches.
Yay! Yay! Yay!
Hooray!
Yay!
Yippee!
It's all you.
Please don't blow up. Ooh. And Levina pulls the lever.
And for a moment, there is just a brief spout of silence, and then suddenly a gurgling, a rumbling. The fire crystal illuminates, and the gears slowly begin to spring to life.
Oh, let's go!
It's
Time to hit the
time.
lever. Let's open that gate.
Oh, the lever, Crunk!
You flip the switch and pull the lever as the gate shudders under its immense weight. Massive chains drag themselves out of the water and pull this giant door open. You can see the sunlight spill in and the waves greet you. Another lever is flicked, and the bitter end lurches as mechanisms begin pulling it down the ramp. The water breaks upon its hull as this ancient behemoth sets to sea once again. As the ship roars out of its hold, like a giant awoken from its slumber. Levina, you can feel the lurch and roll of the ship as it meets the waves and overpowers them. Aelea, you beat your wings and race out of the door before the ship vanishes in the horizon, landing upon the deck along with your comrades. A billow belts out from within.
Have we used the sending stone for today?
You can use it.
Because I think this would be a great time to let Horatio know that we have found something promising.
Okay, are we out of the cave now? Are we on the water?
On open seas now. Or, well, coastal seas, to be more precise.
Yeah.
Alright, fuck the rest of the camp. Let's go home.
We don't have enough food.
We don't have food. There's a big fishy out there who's not happy with us, and we don't know how to fire the guns right now. Anyways, Ray's gonna pull up the sending stone. The sending stone. Horatio, are you there by chance?
I'm pretty sure you can only use, like, one message, right?
The sending spell. It's 25 words, and the other person can respond with 25 words.
But maybe this is a
magic
cool
phone.
sending stone.
I thought it was like a magical phone. It's bullshit.
No, it is not a magical telephone.
Jauger, I don't
You
want
can
this rock
only-
anymore. I'm kidding.
Horatio, we have giant ass ship coming our way. It's us.
Horatio, giant ass ship coming back to camp. Do not be alarmed. Can you hear this? And Ray is gonna pull the horn, is gonna hit the horn.
There is a minute pause.
And that counts
What?
as how many words of the 25?
15. Unless we're counting the honk.
What the
No,
actual... Oh, go ahead.
I mean, how many words was the minute pause? How many words does that count
Yes!
as? Because I feel like you hear the silence.
You hear this... What the fuck did you find?
Well, it's not like we can answer right now.
So, Horatio.
Yeah, that's all you get back, is just, what the fuck did you find?
What the fuck did you find? Well, he's gonna figure that part out when we get there in a couple of hours.
Yeah. Alright. And as the bitter end sets to sea for the first time in centuries, bites into the waves and plows through, almost gleefully, if you could attribute any sort of emotion to a machine. This was what it was made for. This is its purpose. It's ready.
And then the whole breaches, the whole ship floods, and we die.
Looming on the horizon, far, far in the distance, you see the dark storm clouds of the Warden. And with that, we are going to take our break.
Break time.
Huzzah!
Mines.
He was hungry and then he felt bad about it. Simple as that.
You know what? Happens to the best of us.
For real, for real.
For real, for real.
Anyway, yeah, I'm ready.
Alright, 3, 2, 1, and I've been recording for like 10 seconds now, so I'm actually off the count.
Son of a fucking bitch, you motherfucking... I swear to God!
Gotta keep you on your
It will
toes,
never... You know, for a fucking moment, I thought, oh my God, is he actually going to just do the legit count? I'm gonna be so happy. I'm gonna be so proud.
When did you think you deserved the full count?
When did you deserve?
6.
When did you think you deserved to be happy?
7.
Well, you've seen the last 20 years of my life. You answer that question for me.
Anyways,
It's Dementia. Oh, sorry.
Better after 20 years, trust me.
Minus my husband, of course. That's been great.
minus your husband.
I'm the captain, bitch.
That's Captain Husband to you.
Oh, yeah, Captain Mr. Sir Husband, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Anyways.
Love my life.
As much as I want to fucking kill you guys, you all feel.
I shouldn't have pinged you for that, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Unrelated.
Where was
Run
I?
it back, guys.
Bro, you took like all the wind out of my motherfucking sails.
Sorry.
There's no sails on this boat.
I didn't mean to.
Alright, run it back.
Okay,
run
so
it
we have
back,
somebody
run it back.
piloting, we have somebody
Run it back.
navigating, we have somebody handling the engine stuff. I don't know what Jauger's
Okay,
doing.
No, I'm helping with the engine. Thank you.
Okay, we're not fucking with the guns, big guys in the distance, but we're trying not to piss him off.
Yeah, no, it's very much. You can tell that the big guy is in the distance, but doesn't seem to have taken notice or care towards your presence. So, you travel through as the blue waves roll underneath the ship, and it is a power that you have never felt before. You can feel the waves, but it is so minute compared to sailing on a sail-driven vessel. It's almost so small that it feels like you're just gliding along the water. And the whole time, the ship is unfazed by the waves that batter against its hull. The shoreline past you, on your other side, is almost a blur as it slips by streaks of green and gray and white, yellow sand. So, Rae, do you want to give me... yeah, well, you have proficiency in the stealing of vessels. I guess you want to give me a perception check.
Perception.
Perception.
Ah, shit.
Since I'm in the same room as you, I will use the help action because I have proficiency.
As for you, Chris, can you give me let's see
sorry.
here.
Because I have because it's for ship steering specifically, do I add my proficiency bonus to it? Even if I
Yeah.
don't have to set for...
Yeah.
Okay.
I will allow nature for you, Chris.
Nature. Okay.
11.
I'm not good at navigation, but I will take an 18.
You are decent at navigation. It's a little hard to get used to it at first. At some moments it feels as though the ship reacts too slow. But then your mind catches up and is like, no, this is actually too fast. This is way fast. And as Chris is giving you courses, you try to keep up with it. And at first you falter, but over time, as you grow more accustomed to the way the ship reacts and behaves, you become a lot more consistent in your steering.
Huzzah.
And Chris, just aside from just charting a course and following the map, what are you currently doing right now?
Chris is currently in a room. It's weird because like navigation is not something he has literally ever done in his life. So this has taken his whole attention. He has been given this role as this is the last guy that has something to do. He is fully engrossed in this because he does not want to fuck up and crash this thing.
Yeah. Fair enough. Pulling outwards, Aelea, Jauger, Levina, what are you all doing right now?
Levina's monitoring all this engine stuff. This thing hasn't been powered on in centuries, and she's making sure that nothing's about to explode.
Go ahead, Jauger.
I'm just making sure that I'm actually listening to directions because I was yelled at earlier about this thing possibly exploding.
As you cross-reference the manuals and other little bits and bobs that you've collected while exploring the ship, everything seems to be good. Everything's holding steady. Nothing to be concerned about. At first, it seems like things are just a bit slow, but as the old girl metaphorically shakes off the rust, you can see everything goes up to where it should be. Every meter, every valve, every dial, reading out everything that it should. All green across the board, so to speak.
Levina pulls a mysterious lever that's unmarked, and a single cup of coffee pops out of the wall.
And Aelea, what are you doing right now?
Aelea chose to be on the top deck so that she could keep an eye on everything. And while this is something that is on her radar, she is watching their surroundings, especially the warden, to make sure it's not getting any closer. I think there's a moment of wonder here that must come from someone who is watching something historic unfold before their eyes as she's watching this sailing vessel part the ocean, and knowing who made this ship, it is not a far stretch to think that they must have been favored by the gods in a time when divine magic and magic itself were so much stronger than they are now. This is watching magic happen the way the ship parts the waves, and I think maybe she's not watching so closely for danger as she is unpacking the full majesty of the vessel they're sailing on.
Of course. And indeed, it is a wonder. It is common knowledge that believers, followers of Adros, say that each ship has its own soul, its own heart, its own personality. And as you watch this behemoth, the stern, or the bow, cutting its way through waves that would roll and shake and toss about any small boat as if they're nothing, you can feel a sense of strong determination and almost a sense of stubborn pride that nothing will get in its way.
Definitely something to chronicle about.
Alright. And unless anyone has anything specific they would like to do, say, or present, it only takes you all perhaps 4 hours to reach the outcropping that comprises your base camp. The engines are powered down, anchor is dropped, and you all make way for the shore using one of the... Well, it's not quite a longboat, as it's a bit bigger, a bit sturdier. Same general use, but in a sense, more... It's... As you take these boats, we'll still call them a longboat because there's no other equivalent. Like the rest of the ship, it feels as though these are so much more than the sum of their parts. And while the ship vanishes in the distance, and you all return to your base camp, which you've been gone from for almost a month, honestly, a large group has gathered to greet you in awe of your achievement.
Holy shit, the crab is still alive!
He wasn't eaten.
Straight to Chris.
This is one with the he is one with the crab. It's his little buddy.
Horatio and Sylvia look at you all with mixed expressions of awe, admiration. Definitely seem impressed. But they also, as well as the rest of the crowd, just seem expectant.
Are we short people?
I mean, you are short one person.
Well, no shit. But it think we're short more than one person.
No, you haven't lost anyone.
What? Wait. Hold on. Am I out of my mind? What do you mean we're short one?
Rodent
doctor.
Oh,
No, the
We didn't
doctor,
go
yes,
out.
but it looks
we didn't go out looking for Rudenthal this time.
He's dead.
he dead.
Yeah, he's been dead for a while.
Yeah.
But since we left the last time,
What?
Everyone is here.
yes,
Nothing
but
has
since the
changed
last
since
time-
you guys left.
Yeah, since the last time we've not lost everyone. Got it.
Yeah, the crowd all seems to be looking at you very expectantly.
Hi?
What? We said we'd be back.
No one died. No one's missing any digits. We got to the we got to the ruins that you had pointed out, Sylvia.
Before Sylvia can really say something, it's as though you all speaking has broken a spell. And bit by bit, as you all continue to speak, members of the crowd start coming forward, you know, at first quietly and cautiously asking questions. And then you see multiple of the crew asking about the ship, where you went, how it was out in the jungle, and it starts to become almost a tirade as people begin
This is
to
backing back into the water.
get more eager and excited. You can see this is the most positive energy this camp has had since you all landed.
I'm gonna pull out the saw. All right, back it up. Back it up.
No.
One at a time.
What are you doing? No, put it down.
Put the
Before
saw
that-
away.
Before that, Horatio pushes through the crowd and motions for you all to follow. Sylvia nods. Come on, let's break down everything that you experienced.
You know when people are like walking away backwards slowly, like trying to keep a crowd in control type of deal?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing that with a big ass 2-person saw right now.
I think the
off.
I think the funnier idea in that same vein is Jauger's just like, stay back, I'll cut you. And Chris is just like, stop me to ask me a question, I dare you. Just walking through people.
It's the scene at the end of Mega Mind where he's holding a gun to the crowd that's trying to be happy for him.
I
Mhm.
think
And he's
Aelea
going
has,
to put the crab down before heading in.
I think Ailea's been staring at this crowd of people with the thought that probably the appropriate thing to do would be to raise some kind of cheer, and she just doesn't know what to say. So she moves on. She waits outside the tent flap and then raises both of her hands in fists towards the crowd in a sort of, I don't know what to say, but raise some noise type of movement.
It's enough, and with hearty hoops and hollers, the crew let out excited, jovial, jubilant cheers. We're saved! They did it!
Keep it down, we're trying to sleep.
We're saved! They did it! We're gonna be out of here! The gods have blessed us! So on, so forth.
She'll step inside the tent. Oh. Did she just go back to her hammock? Gwen's had enough of the excitement. Or she's getting her alcohol.
Maybe.
Both.
Who knows?
Both.
The answer is yes. Anyways, Horatio closes the tent flap behind you all, very well knowing that if anyone wanted to listen in, there's nothing stopping them. It's a fucking tent. I got distance there for a moment. And he looks to the rest of you. When I sent you out to find some way to get us off the island, I did not expect that.
We only delivered what you asked.
I think you delivered more than what I asked for. You far exceeded my expectations. And mine. It's... Whatever you found, logs, documents, artifacts, I would love a chance to read, what exactly this is, and, study every last word.
I think a decent amount of the stuff that we collected, we did take copies of and left the originals in place, or at least a decent amount of things, just so that when we send, if we do decide to send people back to that specific place, they can be studied, I guess, more intensely than what we do have. I think some of the personal journal-esque logs we did take with us and also made copies of. On the ship itself, there's some maps. I may or may not have taken the one that we were kind of looking at, which is, I believe it was charting the courses around the island, and I believe if it might have some more of the century the ship came from, places marked on the map for the island.
Well, this is more than I ever could have hoped for.
You don't know the half of it.
The skyship models. You have to see them.
The what? The what? The models of the what?
Skyship naval models completely
Skyship
intact.
models. Suspended from the ceiling.
And on the floor.
So, Horatio, when can we set sail?
It took us only a few hours to get here.
From the time that the horn was blaring, which is what he would have, I guess everybody would have heard.
I do just want to make a quick warning. And Levina's gonna like set down the copies of like the stuff that they all made. There's not really a lot of morale bolstering information in here. It's quite the opposite.
I don't know. That's yet to be seen.
Oh no, we read them. It's not gonna bolster morale.
Well, it might be intriguing for the more academically inclined. The end logs were basically what summed up their end of that place. As well as, if you go there in person, we did not disturb the entrance. There's lots of evidence.
Well,
A lot.
I had originally sent you out to see if you could find anything that would help us defeat the war. So what is your assessment of this vessel?
Weapons beyond anything you could imagine.
Did you bring any logs or anything that I could look at to reference them?
Copies are on the table.
He steps forward and begins looking them over. pulls
I
up.
imagine in the time it took to sail from the ruin back to camp, Levina, with the copies, made a bunch of like annotations on them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That combined with all the annotations from all the engineers. He looks them over. Looks over the designs, the estimates, every little log, every mention of them. He combs through them. You see the helmet search along the paper, and he pulls up a makeshift stool, sets down upon it, and tense knits his fingers together, tenting them over the table. Well, obviously, I see a lot here. A lot I can chew through. And definitely estimates for more conventional rounds like cannonballs. Chris, you've been fairly silent. What's your assessment?
Everything in those notes and annotations is correct. There is more to the story that's not being told, though.
Go on.
Looks at Rae.
Okay, look, I wanted to get the more important of what we had gone there specifically for out of the way first, which now it is. Long story short, and you are probably going to lose a decent amount of trust in me, but I'm hoping that you can see through the reasons, or at least once I think of them properly. So, first up, let me scroll up the notes so I can read this first time. So I came to the island for a more specific purpose that was more than exploring and more than led on to be. I know it's being held here. It is the antithesis of Null. One of the, kind of like when you're telling your dad you did something bad. I'm hoping he's not too disappointed in you. Yeah, so, Primordial of Chaos Null, his antithesis is being held here kind of in a
Not his
precautionary...
antithesis.
Basically, anyways,
No.
my story, not yours.
The logs do say something about an antithesis.
Yes, that would be him, sealed away in a sort of, break in case of emergency. And, well, Null is currently already getting free. And so it's been going on for years previous to even deciding to really come to the island. But it's the main reason. And we have to, in order to free him to defeat Null, we have to kill the warden. And I know there's a lot more that needs to be said, but Crit cannot think of it right now.
It's not the antithesis, it's the Sword of Deus.
You see Horatio tilt his chin up. Very much prompting you to continue.
I only
Uh.
did not say any. Sorry to him.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
You see, I only didn't say anything because, if I were to have come up to you all and said, hey, yeah, I want to be a part of this trip so I can go on this island to follow a little voice that said things in my head, would you have let me come on this ship? I don't think so.
Well, it would have made your interview a lot more interesting, shall we say.
Crazy. I would have seemed crazy.
Yes, absolutely. We probably would have told you not to come anywhere near us.
See. Good thing I didn't say anything then.
Yeah, no, I probably would have thought you were insane as well. Not sure about the captain, though. He had a way of seeing things that we didn't. But Horatio turns back to Chris. What do you mean by the Sword of Deus? Specifically.
Those who practice in or worship the god of Deus in.
Yes, I know. I am not a practicing man, but I am a follower of Deus in a sense. What I mean is, which one?
Seki.
And again, you see he lowers his head. The hands unknit and clasped together instead. He taps the metal gauntlets against the helmet for a moment. Sylvia.
Yes?
How much do you know about the history between Deus and the primordial chaos?
Is that a trick question?
Sylvia, please.
Oh, well, so this is entering a bit of
Sylvia.
the primordial chaos. No, the destroyer of Danoth. Records of him and many of the other primordials are very hard to come by. At times it feels deliberate, as though forces are working to hide and obscure the information, but with enough practice and enough wherewithal, you can find anything, especially if you know where to look. The general history when it comes to Deus and the primordial chaos, the false god, is, well, let's say calling Deus the antithesis to No is not entirely false. While it is not in a literal sense, such as order, challenging, rivaling chaos, it is more in a sense that Deus is the one to defeat the primordial chaos. Decisively so, in fact. And you see for a moment that Sylvia actually hesitates. Well, normally I would not say this part, but given that we are in a situation where honesty is very key, and, well, it's about a 50% chance that we're going to die anyways. I don't think it matters that much. The victory against the Primordial Chaos was a thorough and decisive one. That said, that primordials are not beings that can be killed. They can. It's just in the same manner that gods can't be killed. Bad things tend to happen to the world. And so, while many primordials were exiled to their own elemental planes, creating the planes surrounding the material, the primordial of chaos was given special treatment. The bulk sum of the primordial's body was used to create the plane of chaos, while the rest of it was cut and separated and scattered about the world. And now it's my turn to share something that I might have needed to share in the beginning when this whole expedition was being formed. There were long-standing hypotheses that this island served as the prison of the primordial of Chaos's soul. The larger portion of the primordial's power, I suppose, is the best way to say it. Its mind, its heart, in a more metaphorical sense. And so we wanted to confirm that. And we may have also possibly, this was not a guaranteed, given the fact that there were no proper documented logs that have left the island. We knew there might have been a chance of a warden of Adros being the protector of the island.
You knew all of this, and you took 3 fleets of people to their deaths?
Again,
Or
we didn't know-
worse?
We didn't know for certain, and truthfully, we might have been a bit overconfident.
Might have been.
The ships had no weapons.
See, every documented case of encounters with Wardens of Adros described them as firm yet reasonable. They've never been known to directly attack unprovoked. We assumed that prior failed expeditions, if the off chance there was, because again, it was not confirmed. Was not confirmed. I need to reiterate, it was not confirmed. We did not know for sure. We assumed that prior encounters must have provoked the creature in some way, manner, shape, or form.
And
What happened to us was unprovoked and was not at all what any documentation of the wardens ever mentioned at all.
so my question is, right? There's a hypothetical, possible, gigantic divine sea monster circling the island. And all previous encounters must have aggravated in some way, so let's not bother to mention the existence of this sea monster so we can possibly avoid aggravating it.
Well, if we mentioned that we were going to an island to try to settle for a colony and, research purposes and so on and so forth, and then, we're trying to get intellectuals and non-combat sorts, the requirements for a successful colony.
They would not be stupid enough to come here.
I mean, I sure as shit wouldn't have him.
Who is we, Sylvia? Who knew this?
The captain?
Only this captain?
No.
What of the other ships?
The-
They knew?
Yes.
So, you're telling me right now that you intentionally left out that information in order to get the chartering for this expedition, knowing there's the possibility that they would aggravate the sea monster and we all die anyway?
It was a recommendation from our sponsors.
And you listened?
Well,
Who is
We needed the
sponsoring
funding.
this?
Who sponsored it?
Iskany is
You-
the primary sponsor, with, further contributions from Concordia and Danoth and some from Caliban. Scalier aided with design wherewithal, but had no monetary incentive. It was mostly just collaborative. But
No, hold on. Levina pushes past Chris, and she gets right in Sylvia's face, like lightning crackling on her fingers. Like, no, you wanted the funding. You didn't need it, you wanted it.
well, no, I didn't really want it.
Then why are we here?
This
Okay, you know what? How about this? How about you can leave the tent, you can go walk out to the water, and you can look out at all the dead people sitting at the bottom of the ocean, and you can tell them how much you needed this funding. You want to go tell it to the captain? Or Rowenthal? I mean, I'm sure they'd like to hear it.
Captain Connors was fully aware of the entire situation and the entire plan, and he was fully on board with the asking of information.
So you just made a decision for everyone else too?
High Scholar Alexei Vladimir also agreed. He was the primary head of this expedition. And
Okay,
thusly,
what about the five of us? Horatio, Coral, Odin, Elric. Again, the people sitting at the bottom of the ocean. Them. Rowenthal, who got eaten by dinosaurs.
Alright. Levina. It's understandable. I get it. There's nothing we can do now.
Well, I'm glad you found what you wanted.
Horatio presses a gauntleted hand to his helmet. Then after a moment, pulls back, just takes it off, sets it down, and presses the hand just straight to his face. He is a pale-skinned man with various light scars along his features. Messy black hair and golden eyes, which currently are half-lidded, brow furrowed, as he thinks this entire situation. To be fair, to be frank, while they weren't explicit about the danger, they were very clear that there was a great risk of death, harm, and sports. While I personally would have preferred more specifics to make my own informed choice, I didn't go into this thinking everything was going to be fine and I wouldn't sink. And I'm sure most of you also had some sort of doubts. No one goes to sea for 3 months and doesn't expect at least something going wrong. Am I wrong?
We were to be the first people on this island to find a place for everyone to stay. Would we have been told about this theory of a chaos primordial being on this island before we got here?
Well,
Or would you have left that out because it makes things easier?
On top of that
When-
main issue.
Well, Aelea getting a bit Russian.
I know. I was gonna say it. I was thinking it too.
To be fair, there was no reason to think that a tomb to a supposedly dead primordial would be all active.
But you knew that they would not be dead.
You know,
You knew they could not be killed.
No.
Hold on.
Here's the thing. They can't be killed in the sense that you or I can be killed. Primordials and gods, they are metaphysical concepts. They are not the same as you or I. They can be killed, in a sense. The way you can kill a thought. You bury it, you hide it away, you seal it, and it weakens, it loses power, it loses traction until it becomes completely, totally, utterly inactive to a point where it is on the brink or border of what one can reasonably call death. There was no reason or cause for me or any member of the expedition to assume that we would be waltzing in here into a land that is actively dominated and ruled by a fragment of a primordial of chaos that has not been seen actively in thousands of years.
So,
you know, I'm hearing a lot of to be fairs and not a lot of responsibility, and Levina fully shoves Sylvia at this point.
Okay,
Ooh.
hey.
okay.
Let's keep hands down and keep this. And I know the topic is not great, but let's keep this as civil of a discussion as we possibly can, because as Horatio had said, what's done is done and there's no going back. We cannot fly ourselves out of there. I mean, Aelea probably can, but she'd get a little tired. We cannot go back in time and stop ourselves from coming to this island. We cannot go back in time and change what we have done. We are stuck here and we need to look forward, and it would be best if we all try not to kill each other in the process. Please.
Horatio
has been drinking this entire scene and pinches the bridge of his nose between two knuckles. The High Scholar and the Diligent were the ones that formed this entire plan. But the one who I place the most blame on is Captain fucking Connors.
I agree.
That man had my trust. He seemed he was in control. You'd think a man with that much knowledge would at least spare a second's thought. But he's dead, and we're here, and nothing can change that. And as much as I would like to tear each other apart, it doesn't fix the problem that we are in right now. Rae had knowledge, outside knowledge, came here for that specific reason. Diligent had outside knowledge, came here for that specific reason. Neither wanted to share because either they thought they would be seen as crazy or that no one would come. No one would trust them. And I don't completely agree with that mentality. But I see the train of logic that brought them to it. And I will concede that. I will concede no more. Diligent. You can leave the tent. Later, we will discuss, and we'll talk about your role in all this, and how you will make this right to the crew. And honestly, she hangs her head and leaves. She doesn't look angry. In fact, after Levina shoved her, she just looks ashamed. Which is likely the goal.
Is there a stool near Levina?
Yeah.
Pure lightning fist obliterates it.
Took 2 days to build. Thank you, Levina.
Okay,
There's
so this
glass
is a
memorabilia from the ship.
So this is a gigantic logistical nightmare, and now we have a weapon of mass destruction sitting on the port.
First and foremost, Rae did start, so I want to hear Rae
Go.
first. Then we'll go to Chris.
No, it was just a shitty joke about that still being the last memorabilia of the ship.
Oh, okay. Alright, never mind. Then continue, Chris. I still haven't gotten your thoughts about the ship itself, Chris.
It's a
Reflected.
gigantic.
No,
It's
go
a
ahead.
gigantic. It's a gigantic weapon of mass destruction that does not. It's too large of a weapon. Returning home is an absolute risk, but also we obviously can't leave. Just stick around here while this threat is happening. So we're stuck in a situation where we have one of the most dangerous ships currently, on top of killing a warden.
Alright.
And getting the sword of fucking Deus.
Okay. Cutting through any extenuating circumstances. We're going to put aside
the primordial, the god, whatever. I'm gonna put aside Deus and his blade. I see the math on these candles. Give me your thoughts straight. What do you want from this? What do you see from this? Because I can see something in your eyes and I can hear something in the tone of your voice that's...
Okay. 1 second. Okay. Well. I don't even know if my thoughts are even the right ones here. I was raised by horrible people who are now a entire threat to the nation of Skillier, who set themselves on fire to be symbolic to the god of Deus. And I'm sitting here being told that we have to kill a warden to a separate god that has the sword of Deus trapped. Deus, who is equally about freedom just as much as he is about war, and his sword is trapped, and that's just okay. And then we have to take, if we survive the warden, we then have to go home in a gigantic deterrent in which we are going to be considered a threat no matter where we land, because we have a bigger hammer. I don't know why everyone's morale is so high and everybody's so fucking happy about this. This is not a good thing.
Alright. In a sense, I do. I said, I see the math. I'll pose a question to you, though. Which land, which kingdom first created the sword?
What, the god?
No, the original sword. It's... he's making the point that this is going to happen eventually.
A year ago...
And he's right.
A year ago, the trip to this isle would have taken 2, maybe 3 months. We made it in about 1, give or take a few days or weeks. I need to make myself clear on this. I am not blind to the consequences. Our forefathers weren't. This is why so few nations even have ships capable of mounting steel plating on their hulls. But at a certain point, it becomes less and less because they can't, and more because they won't. Just like you said, someday that won't be the case anymore. I'm from Diver. We are known for war. We are known for warfare in all its shapes and forms. During the end of the Pantheons War, we held the line. We held the line while the land around us crumbled, while our verdant green fields withered and froze and our oceans boiled. We held the line so that the rest of Danoth could live. I know the cost. I know the score. I have already done the math 1,000 times in my head. I could stay here. Sacrifice myself, like my forefathers, to stem the tide of something worse. Buy the world a few more years before Amica, or Caliban, or even Diver decide that they're done playing by our own rules. He pauses. But it's not just me. There are men and women here who want to see home again. Who miss their family, their friends,
never signed up for this, and they sure as shit never signed up to die for this. And he glances towards Levina. He nods. He looks back to you. We have the answer and the means to get them back home. Can you look them in the eyes and tell them why they should sacrifice themselves here on this island where no one will ever remember their name?
No, I can't.
I agree with you. That once we leave here, we are unleashing something terrible. But we have no choice. Gods, I wish I did. What's the minimum crew that this ship requires?
Or weapon capabilities or just piloting?
Weapon capabilities.
12.
12?
Well, he said, I believe you told me last session it was 10 to 12, but I'm going with the highest number.
Yeah, it's 10 to 12. Rae? Jauger?
Yes, sir.
Grab Ven and select a handful of crew to accompany you all. Levina, you've looked through all these blueprints. I assume you're familiar with the workings at least somewhat.
If you want that engine running, I can do that.
Train whoever these two pick. Get them ready. I don't want to lose momentum on this energy that we have here. While everyone's still with high morale and high hopes, I want you all to get them ready.
Oh, Horatio, one more thing.
He looks to you.
Levina sorts through some of the stuff on the table, and she kind of slides a couple of the entries that she made markings on over to Horatio. I have a working theory about the warden.
Alright.
To explain what we came across, with the ruin at the entrance, there were...
Oh, well, he does pause you for a second. You four, head out. Start getting everything and everyone prepped. Levina, stay here. Let's discuss.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Am I doing something?
I need you to... I need you to check up on everyone. Gwen,
On Sylvia?
Fable, Sylvia, yes, Sylvia.
Yes.
Certainly Odin.
Has something gone wrong while we were away?
If you're able to, I want you to use it as an excuse to try to learn who else amongst the crew knew about what we were walking into. Should certainly be a good use of your skills.
She gives him a funny look. What do you intend to do with this information?
Nothing, really. I just want to know
You
who
just
we can
want
trust.
to know? Hmm.
Clearly, we couldn't trust Captain Connors as much as we thought we could. I want to make sure I don't make that mistake again.
I will see what I can find out.
And Chris, I also saw you wandering off.
Just pacing.
Horatio looks to you, Chris, and just nods. You're free to do whatever you feel is fitting.
Okay. And Chris is going to toss him one of the bottles of alcohol.
Horatio catches it, nods, sets it down, and as Chris leaves, he turns to Levina.
She kind of like gestures to the mark spots on the entries. When we came to the ruin, we came across a grisly scene of hordes of skeletons on the ground. Amongst them were monstrous skeletons of what could have been mutated animals of some kind. Now, we have the knowledge that Null is getting free of whatever imprisoned it, and Seki's here. We also have the working knowledge of the wardens, and this warden's particular unnatural behavior. My theory is, whatever happened, Null got free enough to start spreading some kind of influence. We'll call it, I don't know, chaos influence or something. Mutated these animals that attacked some of the strongholds around this island, and then had enough to worm its way into the Warden of Adros. I don't think we're up against the Warden of Adros. We're probably now up against the Warden of Null. That would explain its weird behaviors.
Given what Diligence said about documented behaviors of Wardens of Adros and the supposedly unusual way that it interacted with us, I think you might be onto something.
It would explain why, assuming the Warden is aware of Seki and its state, I would assume the Warden would want us to come in to help fix the problem of Null getting free. But if it's instead attacking ships, it may be trying to keep us out to prevent us from stopping Null.
Might be right about that. Hopefully,
That's just my theory. So I would, if we are going to go after this Warden, we may want to prepare ourselves just a little more.
agreed. How much? You know what? Here's a job for you. I want you to return to the ship when you bring the selected number of crew in hands. After you're done showing everyone the ropes, I need you to get me a count of the munitions that the ship has stowed, and some sort of assessment of their condition.
I'll see what I can
I
do.
don't want to go into a fight only to find that damn things can't fire.
I'll see what it's got.
Alright. Thank you, Levina. And I understand everything you said to Diligent. I agree with a lot of it, a lot of the sentiment. But we still have to work together. And
kept us alive thus far. Don't do anything that you might regret.
Levina shakes her head, almost like in disbelief, as she heads towards like the entrance of the tent. I just want to correct one thing. She kept what's left of us alive. And then she leaves.
And with that, we're going to pan over to Chris.
Ugh. Chris is walking off on the beach to a quiet area where he is certain nobody is. He's not incredibly stealthy. Stealth is probably his worst fucking attribute. But, well, other than social skills. But he finds a spot under a tree, kind of crosses his legs in a moment, and just like you can see that he doesn't really know where his thoughts are going. He's kind of stopping himself. Then he kind of has that fuck it mentality, grabs one of the bottles that he has, takes the largest sip that his tiny tolerance can handle, and he is going to make a prayer to Deus. Con save. He has a +8 con, my man, and I can add a D10 to it with new fighter.
You don't need to roll a con save.
And by what I mean by tiny tolerance is Chris fucking hates alcohol.
Oh, not about like alcohol tolerance, just I do not tolerate alcohol because I do not like it.
Chris is a fruity drink connoisseur.
Well, what is it that you say?
Okay. Oh, mighty Deus, no. Okay, you know what? I've already said your name enough times. Look, I don't really know how to do this the right way. I mean, obviously you've received multitudes of prayers from people who don't know what they're doing. So I guess mine isn't 100% different, but unfortunately I know everything about you except how to respect your wishes. And obviously I assume that you already know that, being a deity and all. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. The captain made me a lead of the construction because he knew we'd be in hell from the get-go, and he knew where I came from. You know where I came from. I didn't want any of this. I just wanted to build shit and not have to stand at attention and swing a sword at every enemy I find. But apparently the enemies I have to find are now fucking yours. Or at least your old ones still kicking, and your sword, obviously. I know that you lost one of your familiars already. And I know Seki is here, but none of this smells right. None of this feels right. But why is this so difficult? Can I just... You're supposed to talk to soldiers and give them something, but I'm not going to talk to you as some soldier looking for guidance. I'm not going to do that. You stand for freedom just as much as you do fighting, and I have been trying and trying and trying to not just be something that somebody else wants me to do, but I don't know how to do that. Can you please just show me how to do that and show me that I'm not making a stupid mistake when I say yes here? Because I'm going to say yes, obviously. There's too much shit riding on this. Everything is... There's 30 people's lives, my friends' lives, Ray's life. This is huge, and I'm gonna have to step up and do shit I'm not comfortable with, that I don't want to do, that I don't ever want to do. Can you please, just genuinely please, just show me that I'm not doing it for some stupid reason here? And I'm sorry if this is disrespectful, and I'm sorry if I'm not gonna, like, pledge my fealty or whatever, but I'm done wanting to be somebody else's soldier. I got set on fire for that. I'm not doing that again. Please, just give me something here.
As you raise your head from your prayer, you see a white raven. You catch its gaze. A farmer tends to his fields. His children play by the river. His pitchfork breaks the rich soil. With calloused hands, he sows new seeds which sprout, grow, bloom, and thrive tender guidance. The blue sky darkens with smoke. The fields alight with flame. The farmer rises. Calloused hands that once gently gave life now grip tight the haft of spear. The seasons change. The fire burns out. Once more, the farmer picks up his pitchfork and breaks ground in the rich soil, readying it for the new season. Was the farmer always a soldier? Was the soldier always a farmer? A hammer can build as easily as it can break. Could it be possible for hands that have taken life to also nurture it in equal measure? And when you blink free from this vision, the raven's gone. And you are left with the rolling of the waves. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session.
Oh my god!